Hello world, and welcome back to Minecraft Memoir. This is episode 46. In the last episode, our main thing was we went to the Nether, finally. We got some glowstone, threw that around in various places of the world, and then did some building. In between episodes, I've been doing some things, not exactly related to playing, but things around it. You'll see as we go along here. In today's episode, and pretty much the next three, I've mentioned this in the past, episodes 46 to 49 were really just prepping, making the world look nice for that episode 50 world tour and world download. It sounds kind of lame, but we'll be doing more interesting things than just cleaning up the world. Like, we'll be making builds, but that's generally the idea, is we want to make it look nice, so when I release the world, people think it looks nice. The base is over that way. I followed kind of where those ruined stone pillars went. These chunks are already generated, and I am looking for clay. You might be able to see in the distance, there's a block that doesn't look super familiar. So let's go make our way over. Now, I read a forum post a while back on the best ways of finding clay in this version. Since it's pretty rare, I was hoping that there'd be some sort of workaround, and there are a few actually, but most of them are pretty cheaty. So I wanted to use one of them, so I used the least cheaty option, which was taking the default texture pack and modifying it so that clay is like slightly brighter, and thus easier to find. So I made my clay red, and it kind of came out pink, which I'm fine with. I can still see it from all the way over there. So this is, oh, I guess I can't just show it in my inventory. But yeah, this is this texture pack here, which I will distribute if people want, but it's really just my default one with clay turned red, or pink, I guess. So I'm pretty much just going around digging up as much clay as I can find, because that is related to our first build project of the day. So the pink clay texture pack was a lot more useful than I thought it was going to be. You can see we got almost 10 stacks of clay blocks here. I'm going to smelt as much of that as I need into brick blocks, and then we'll head over to our next build. I do not know what is going on with Streamlabs OBS, but I've had to record this multiple times now, not because of me. I recorded like 3 clips, and then my microphone wasn't like being detected for some reason. Fixed that, and so I had to re-record, and like now I'm confused with the audio pattern, and so I re-recorded, got the audio, but then Streamlabs OBS didn't hook the video. And so I re-recorded that, and then it happened again where it didn't hook the video. So I'm confident it's recording it both audio and video now, but very frustrating. I'm talking in circles. However, in between clips, I didn't have time to record, so I went and gathered some glowstone instead. Speaking of doing things in circles, there is now a like 200, 300 block radius around our portal where there exist no glowstone veins. It's really unfortunate. We've gathered a lot more glowstone than I thought, just because of like that crafting conversion rate. It's so steep. So we've only actually gathered like 2.5 stacks of glowstone blocks, but that's still like 20 stacks of dust. So like, 20 blocks of glowstone that I've broken. We have had enough though to finish the interior and exterior of the library. So let's check this out. One thing that I've noticed, every time that I've swapped out woolen torches with glowstone, it's a strong change. I think it's just that I got so used to seeing the woolen torches that I'm not used to it, but I don't know, I second guess myself. every time I replace one of those. I'm definitely not going to remove this glowstone, though. I've already placed it. I'm not going to break it. And I got the rim of the ceiling done. I think that looks really good. Got the little star put in. I also got the glowstone in the seating area over there put in, which I think is probably the best application of it. So let's go check that out. I also did some figuring out with the design here of this spawner. So I'll show that later. Yeah. So I know it's only 6 blocks that have changed, but definitely with this area, I feel like it's a lot cleaner now. I actually think I could get rid of a lot of these torches. Another change I made, much more notable, I also forgot to show, but basically anywhere there was dirt on the exterior, there's now glowstone. But the bigger change is I did more building up here. Of course, there's a cloud in the way, so you can't see it as well. But I made this, it's sort of like a gazebo kind of structure. It's really just like arches going over the 7 ways of getting up on each side. And then this arch, it's kind of like a half arch that connects to the first one here. I think it looks really cool. It's kind of different. It doesn't really serve much of a purpose. It's decorative, but it looks pretty cool. So we're gonna leave it. And the other side looks basically the same. I also got like all the floor in here put in, so I don't like that. Okay, maybe I'll change out that dirt block, but generally everything in the floor here is good, so you can at least traverse around this upper level, I guess. I don't even know what you would call this at this point, because like the roof itself was supposed to be the 3rd floor, so this is like kind of like a 4th, and then maybe a 5th and a 6th. Or they're completely different structures. So the thing that we're going to work on now are these silos. I mentioned them a while back, and now we've got the brick to do them. So generally, I'm going to frame them out using cobblestone. Since brick takes so long to break, check this out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, much longer. So if I mess up with the design, I don't want to have to break all those brick blocks. So I'll do it in cobblestone, figure out the design I like, and then swap that with brick. And then once this one's good, I will do this one. I didn't end up recording the design process for the silos. Since they're so simple, like IRL, they're basically just a little cylinder, or a big cylinder, with a little cap on it. As such, there's not much design to it. I actually really struggled to like put things on the walls other than the brick. So here is the final design. I think it's pretty good. I think these stairs I might remove. It makes it look too much like a pergola. But aside from that, I think this is good. I had to resize them and shift this one back 2 blocks. So I ended up actually building this one first. But I think this is pretty good. They're pretty close together, but I think I can get away with that spacing. I might move this one over 1 more. But otherwise, I'm just going to copy this there. And then I need to put a little tube on the side of each. That's like how they're filled from the top, I think. I'm not a, silo technician. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to make it look decently accurate. And I can also use that tube to like get up. So yeah, and then we will work on the skeleton drop chute. And here is the both of them put up. I didn't end up having to change anything about this. Their spacing is still the same. It ended up being that only about a block or 2 overlapped on each build. So that was fine for me. And with the tubes, I found out that they're more like exhaust tubes than anything. They like allow for air exchange. So I made them a lot smaller. And this one has some ladders on it so you can get up. I'm kind of worried that they might be too far away from the barn, because when I think of a barn and a silo, they're usually attached or like right next to each other. And these are pretty close, but I don't know. I built them far enough so that there was a gap to walk in between. And now I'm feeling like that was a mistake. I should have made them so there's no gap here and there's a gap around that side instead. I kind of messed up with my auto clicker, so I died. But I figured we could use this opportunity to ride by in a minecart. I think from a distance here, we'd be able to better see this framing. I think this is a good spacing. I actually did ride my minecart the opposite direction already, so I have seen it. But yeah, like that, it looks really good. I think my only issue occurs when I'm looking at it from an extreme, like this. This is as far apart as they're going to get. But even then, honestly, I think it looks good. Going the opposite direction, we also did some work on the spawn tower, so let's check that out. Okay, that loaded in a lot faster than I thought, so not as dramatic of a reveal, but I think this is turning out great so far. It's practically done, the exterior up here. I really like how I used a lot of slabs in the middle, so it's this kind of light color, and then it gets darker as you go towards the edges. So that's really good. And then in here, I haven't finished this room. It's basically just a shell. I figured once we get our stuff together and like we figure out the room below us, then we'll do this. You know, try to get that spooky vibe figured out. And we'll also have to do some building if we plan on going any other direction. So, but I think this looks really clean, very nice. I am waiting to like replace any dirt torches with glowstone because this might not be what the room looks like in the future. And then, man, I'm sorry, I'm like whipping my camera around. I'm trying to get myself orientated. Orientated? Oriented. Jeez. Down here, I'm trying to figure out the arches for the exterior. Oh, and this door. But I'm trying to figure out these arches I wanted to put up. I didn't get very far. You can see the idea, though, is I'll have 4 small arches, and then there will be a flat across like there, and then 2 more arches. But yeah, I made this door pretty recently. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I really wanted to keep this whole thing just stone products, but like I'm not sure I could make a door without wood. Like I don't know if there's like enough stone that I could make something look different as a door here. And wood gets that idea across really well. So I need to figure that out. And that will determine what I do here, specifically with this post. I stopped because I was like, if I get rid of that door, then this post can remain. But if I leave the door, then I should probably get rid of this because it's really tight here. But then I would have to kind of redesign this side. So I don't know. I'm going to mess with this. So instead of dealing with this nonsense, I ended up just building a whole different section over here just to make sure it looked good. And I think it does. I had to modify it a little bit. I didn't plan for like the foundations here because in my test world, it basically just ends at this level. So I decided for having stone foundations in this world. So I might modify these. I might either swap this out with stone to match these, or extend this cobblestone partially or fully down. But otherwise, I think this looks great. There is an access to the top there. And here is the view from above. The access is actually our old ladder to get up. So this will eventually be removed. in which case I'll have to create a new access in. But I would like to be able to get up here. It's a very nice view, and like, I don't know, why would I make this big platform here if not to stand on? I've done a bit more building out here. Actually, I've done quite a lot of building, but right on this front face, not much has changed. At the moment, I think I am going to try to combine this arch and this one into just one large arch. But I need to replace these smooth stone slabs so that, they'll meet up in the middle without going past this cobblestone layer, because I don't want it to be bigger than that. Otherwise, though, I have built the other sides. So let's go take a look. I think I already showed you this one. Of course, the reveal is super slow. They look the exact same. The only difference is that anywhere where they intersected with some landscape, I tended to leave more of the landscape because I want it to look like, this was built a long time ago and the dirt's kind of swallowing it up. I wanted to show this side of the tower. I think it looks a lot better when you can see more than one face at a time. Like, isn't that just grand? The clouds honestly kind of work with it. It's really unfortunate, I wanted to say, how I have been working on this for, 3 or 4 days now. Spent a lot of time building, and yet I've only recorded like 2 or 3 clips, maybe 2 minutes of video relating to this. Unfortunately, I've already shown you this design, and like, it's the same design, just translated on all 4 sides. So there's really not much I can say that's unique about it. But it feels bad because, it feels like I'm making all of this progress and not logging it. So I apologize for that. But hopefully we can build some things that I can interact with you a bit more while I'm doing that. And here is the front face complete. I'm not sure if I'm done with it yet. I might put some blocks in here because it looks a little bit bare. You can see there's usually this little joint, I guess, and I kind of had to cut it off here. So I might put something in, maybe like a sign. At the very least, I want to fill that space. Then on the back side, there's a small support connecting this to the actual tower. I also might change that because it looks kind of dinky as it is. And I did a little bit of work here, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to change this because now with this arch finished, it looks a bit too small. So I think I might put in a taller door. So it's been a few days since I last recorded. I spent a really long time working on this door, and then some other things came up, so I didn't really have a lot of time to play. But I have finished the door, and I'm glad I changed it because it looks so much better now. You can see I swapped the wood for obsidian, and it made all the difference. It's a pretty simple design. I took this from like a reference image, not completely, but generally I extended the like little archway, I guess, forward a bit, and it extends all the way to the central cylinder. So it kind of affects this pole here. I might put like some blocks to the side, but otherwise I'm fine with that. And here's the door. Really simple. I got a whole bunch of obsidian. I got like 2.5 stacks and only ended up needing like 30 of that. And then I put some buttons on for some accents. I thought the buttons on the inside here kind of make it look like little teeth that hold doors together, like those really big ones. So there's that. And then there's nothing behind these doors. They're really supposed to look like a big door. Like the door inside there, I'd rather not have it, but I also don't want to just leave this open, like for mobs to get in. So I think this is good. It blocks that door from almost all views, and especially, if you're coming at it from this side, you can not see it at all. I also fixed up this little bit here that I mentioned. It wasn't much of a change. I just put a single double slab block there, and then I replaced a couple of these blocks. If you look at it from the side, it's actually thinner now, so it's just as flimsy as it was before, but at least it's less noticeable. Now that we've gotten a decent amount of work done on the spawn tower here, as it is, the exterior is basically done. I think all we're going to do now is like some small designs up there, and then some things on the bridge here. And the bridge is kind of a separate thing, so we'll work on that separately. All that's left is the interior, which I'm still designing, so we can't start that anytime soon. Instead, we are going to work on a new project for the remaining part of the episode. Oh man, the spawn tower looks so good. Like, that is just such a nice profile. I know it's not technically a profile, but you know what I mean. It just, oh, what a great look. I'm taking this cobblestone footpath here. It's been a while since I've had to. Every time I see it from the bridgeway, I consider whether or not I want to remove it or fix it up and make it look nice. Because it would be nice to have just a regular footpath instead of having to take the bridge all the time. The bridge is faster, but, if I don't want to go directly to my base or directly that way, it'd be nice to have an alternative. So I think I'll probably fix up that bit, but I'll probably remove this since it's only one tall. So with the time we have left, I wanted to construct at least the foundation for the lighthouse we discussed. I haven't planned this out. I don't even have like a mental image of what I'm going to make. All I know is I've got 15 by 15 blocks to work with. I could expand that, but at least 15 by 15. And initially I was thinking I'd do your stereotypical like red, white, like candy cane lighthouse. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but you know what I'm talking about. However, I feel like this would have actually been constructed in conjunction with the like spawn tower and stone bridge. So like made by the ancient civilization, not by me. That being the case, this would probably be made out of stone. But I feel like there's a lot of stone buildings here already, so maybe not. I'm probably going to design this in my test world a bit, but at the very least, I'm assuming I'm going to put it on like a giant stone slab that's probably a 15 by 15 square, or it'll be some sort of comparable circle. I did just end up building a big square pad. I kind of took off the corners and built it out in the middle, so it wasn't too bland, but square worked out pretty well here. And then on top of that, I made a hollow cobblestone cylinder, and then a little ring of smooth stone slabs. And then here's the interior. It's really bad. I didn't even like do the floor out. It was late last night and I was just not feeling motivated. However, I did figure out a few things for this build. From, I believe, that grass block up, I have 57 spaces. So I'm pretty sure that's taller than the viaduct. I vaguely remember saying it was 40 blocks tall. So that's pretty cool. And in order to kind of differentiate it from the viaduct, because the viaduct is mainly cobblestone and then smooth stone slabs, this is going to be mainly stone and then cobblestone, I think, and then smooth stone slabs. So it's really unfortunate. I'm doing everything I can to make all my builds not look the exact same, but there are just very few blocks to choose from. And you can see I ran home, got a whole bunch of stone. So hopefully we have enough. I'm thinking I'll make a stone middle section and then do another one of these rings and then some sort of platform. I'm not sure how much space I'll have after that, so I'm really just playing it by each section. Here's how we're looking now. I got the middle stone section put in and then another ring and then a kind of cobblestone topper, I guess. I'm definitely going to redo that though, because I've come up with a good idea. So take what I've built so far and put another one of these on top of it. But in between, there's this open section with some just stone columns. That'll look pretty cool. And that'll be our sort of lookout area. And then where this cobblestone topper is, instead, there will be the, light apparatus at the top. So what I need to do now is get the railing on there and put some columns up. I think I'll do either just 8 or I'll try to do 6. I'm not sure how much space I've got up there, so a hexagon might not come across very well. And here is our lookout platform. I went with 8 pillars because 6 just didn't really work, like I said. But this is good. I'm liking the height that it's at. It's not obviously filled in with anything yet. I did a nice little trim with cobble stairs, and I think I might make another railing, because there isn't one right now, with cobble stairs again, because I don't want to fall off the side here. Otherwise, though, I think this is really good. I'm enjoying the height. We don't really have something this tall over here, obviously, since we're right in the middle of the lake. So it's a nice vantage point. I was also thinking while I was building it that right here I would make like a lava fall, I guess. And it'd be pretty small. It'd probably just fall into a 1x1 here. But that would be nice because I don't really want these torches on this layer. I was hoping I could get away with not having any torches, but all of those trim layers down there need at least 8 to keep mobs from spawning. Every time I want to record, there's always something, and in this case, it's a cloud. I had to wait for this whole thing to pass through. But I got another section built. I think this is going to be the last section I build for this episode. After this, I'm going to make the tower start kind of curving out, so I can put a little platform up here before I put the light in. And that'll be it. I think we've got 15-ish blocks left before we hit the build limit. So I think we're on a good pace here. But there's a lot of designing that I kind of want to do off camera. So I think I'm going to probably build this, like what I've done here, in my test world, and then do some designing there for next episode. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.